Could everyone please stand and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If any residents would like to speak tonight, if you could please sign the book at the podium. All right, let the record reflect no residents' input tonight. For our second discussion topics, Manager Turley.
The first item is the Act 172 certified list. We received the eligibility list from the eligible departments in January, and then for the end of February, we received the application. So the list in front of you is those that were eligible and put in an application, and this should be on for next week to approve, and then we'll issue the tax certificates to those that are eligible.
Any questions on that? And just to be clear, that's a tax credit for local volunteer firemen and EMS personnel.
Okay, second item is the summer employment program. We're coming up on the time, getting near when we start to get applicants and hire our summer employees, and just through our normal management meetings and discussions of all things township business, where there was some concern about the current state economics of hiring part-time summer workers. So I put a memo together to bring it to your attention to see what you thought you'd like to do. Our current pay rate is $11 an hour. That's in the salary and wage resolution. Recent economics has really driven rates much higher in a short period of time, and there was some concern that we may not be able to fill these positions. We don't know. I think last year we budgeted for 6 in the parks and were able to fill 5, and 2 in public works, and we filled 1. And the suggestion was made that we increase this to the number was chosen $15 an hour would be more competitive. And I put that out there for you if you want to discuss it, if you want to raise it at all, that amount or somewhere above the $11 an hour, with the idea that we might be able to be a little more competitive with the ever increasing rates. And then we would try to compensate there with the budget to try. In the case of the Parks Department, we would probably hire 1 less or shorten. In the case of Public Works, we may shorten a few weeks the amount of time. Try to meet the budget. We want to try to hit the budget we have. The staff likes the summer program. We feel like they get good value for the compensation that we pay the summer employees. So this is just one of these current economic issues we wanted to bring to your attention.
I have a couple questions, Mike. What's the average age of the summer employees? Are they in high school or are they college?
Well, I believe I recall they have to be 18. They have to be 18. So I would say most of them are in college.
Okay, and also, what is the general range per hour for the park employees now who are employed by the township?
Well, there's different codes. It's much higher than that. So a starting driver with the CDL on this year, I think, is $32 and some change.
And when do you need to know this? When do you generally put out that advertisement?
Well, they're usually not available till May. It varies a little bit, but we'd like to do something for April. I think we'd like to know what we'd like to get the advertisements or be able to tell people what the pay rate would be sooner than April. But I think by April, because we have to collect applicants and get them ready for May.
And the reason I ask that is because we don't know what's going to happen with the economy, and you may have some employers laying people off, and that may change the dynamics. But if you're looking for April,
Yes, I would say we don't know. In fact, we don't know what applicants we would get. We sort of talked a little bit about last year, we didn't fill the 6 parks positions and thought that there are just a lot of options for people at higher rates. But we didn't really survey them. We knew some of the private businesses were substantially above where we're at, and we thought it would be a problem. We thought we could make it work generally within the budget, just modifying the length of time and the number of people and get a higher rate. So that was our discussion. But maybe we will get 6 and we'll be able to fill the positions and everything will be fine. But it was fairly unanimous when it was brought to me that we thought that this might be an issue for us. But we don't know yet because we haven't advertised it.
thank you for the information.
I'm okay with it as long as you stay within the budget.
Mike, can you tell me what are the typical shifts for these workers?
They typically work the hours that the employees work. And they're summer hours for summer hours go as early as 6 o'clock till 2. The normal hours are like 7 to 3.
Any other board discussion? I would agree with Jason. I'm comfortable increasing the pay rate. I just don't want us to see us to go over the annual budget amount for summer employment.
I think it's not going to be an issue with parks. The issue is with public works with just 2 employees, so we'll work to shorten their time up. The other option we
Or
have,
if we don't get the total amount that we have budgeted, if we have another person short in parks, I can maybe allocate some of that money to public works.
it's a little shell
yeah,
game too. There's also the intern we have budgeted for the planning department is it'll either be later in the year or we may not be able to do it. We've run into so many issues with moving, and HVAC has really delayed things, and the phone system and all the work we're doing is delaying all the moves, and we've advertised right now for the GIS planning position. So we're going to have a situation, because this got delayed, we're going to have a situation this summer where we're going to be trying to move, trying to get a new professional staff person up to speed, and then bringing in an intern. That's not a good scenario for an intern or for us. So we may have to really delay it or not do it. So we might be able to cover the costs that way too. Okay, the next item is the 2022 road program bids, and asked Bob to join us. If you have any questions that I can't answer, but essentially we have the milling and resurfacing work, and then our fiber reinforced seal coating that we do. The low bid that we received for the milling and resurfacing was $937,978 from Liberoni, and the fiber matting work as well as the crack sealing with the low bid was Russell Standard at $149,461, and if you total those, they come to $1,087,439, and that's very close to our estimates. Our estimate of our budget of $1,073,550, but it is over slightly by $13,890. So the recommendation is that we award the 2 contracts at the bid amount, and then we would follow up with a budget amendment so that we could cover the anticipated expense of $13,890 above our current budget.
Any discussion?
I have a question. How reliable are these numbers considering the cost of fuel?
The cost of fuel isn't a concern because that's there is an escalator clause in the contract based on the liquid tons of asphalt or liquid asphalt in the mix. So if the liquid index goes up more than 10%, we're responsible for paying a premium over the 10%. For instance, when we bid the project in February, the liquid index cost was $528 per liquid ton, and it just went up in early part of March to $545. We're good up to $581. If it goes over that, then there's a formula. There's 6.3% liquid in each ton of asphalt, and we would have to pay, based on the escalator, that amount. We haven't had to pay too much in the past. We got hit pretty hard back in 2018, when we bid our project in February. It was $383. In September, when we put the material down, it was $523. It increased by about $150, and we paid in excess of $100,000 additional. But as far as diesel fuel, I'm really concerned about that. That shouldn't be a factor at all, because these unit prices are unit price, and the only escalator is the liquid asphalt in the mix. I see the cost of diesel fuel $5.50 a gallon. I mean, that's about a 50% increase. I would think if that would hold, our contractor's going to lose money. But I don't see any recourse coming back on the township when there's not an escalator on the diesel fuel. He still has to sign the contract. If we award it, and he still has to sign the contract. And yet we have the 10% bid bond, which was $93,000. I hope they're going to go and sign the contract. But if this diesel fuel stays at $5.50 or even goes higher, our contractor's going to lose money.
I think there's some variables. I think you're asking, there's some variables that we don't control and we don't know till the end sometimes. The index could go up and change the price. But for we can deal and handle with those. In this case, this is a budget number, and we know the budget will be slightly higher. So our view were that we probably should amend it or adjust it so that we cover what we expect it to be. And then these other variables will shake out how they shake out at the end to give us whatever the final price is.
We have a little fat in the liquid fuels fund. We have about an additional $100,000, so we wouldn't have to go to our local funds. We would still have those that we're hoping to carry some over till next year. But there's concern. I mean, my biggest concern is the liquid index. I think it's going to be well over $600 when April rolls around, the way things are going.
Any other
It
questions?
is what it is.
All right, thanks.
And then the fourth item is what would be, it has to follow the award. The award has to be done first, and then we would.
Amend the budget.
Right, just to address that slight increase in the state motor fund.
All right. Thank you, Manager Turley. Planning and Engineering Topics, Director Fonzie.
Yeah, there are three items. As I said, we just discussed the rezoning at the public hearing, so if the board wants me to just move on with the other items, unless there's a question, we can move on. Okay, so there are two subdivisions this month. The first is S2 2022, the Willow Estates Phase 2 Revision 2. It's a lot of twos. This is Trafalgar Court. It's a small cul-de-sac street in Phase 2. The first home was actually just built this past summer on the corner further south of this, but this is at the terminus. So this yellow polygon represents the two lots that are going to be consolidated. And there they are in the subdivision plan. So that's 2060 is the one in the back. 2061. I'm sorry. 2061 is the one in the back. 2060 is in the front. The potential buyer would like to purchase both lots, and the house footprint that he has picked out wouldn't fit on a single lot, so he needed to double up in size, and this should accommodate the potential home footprint. So pretty simple. Planning Commission recommended it with no conditions. Any questions? Okay, and the last item I have is subdivision 3 of 2022. This is the Roden Enterprises subdivision. This is adjacent to the Turnpike. This is coming off of Industry Boulevard at Pennsylvania Avenue, where Extrude Hone and X1, the two manufacturing facilities, exist. But this showing up in yellow here is actually one parcel, and there's a zoning line going through it. So the owner wants to subdivide at the zoning line. So there's a better shot of it. So the purple is the industrial, where Extrude Hone currently sits. And then the residential part, the orange polygon, is all vacant. It's basically a wooded hillside. So they would like to separate those lots at that zoning line. So the remainder would be 37 plus acres of residential property. There would still be access to this lot. There is a existing street in Altman Farms, Phase 5. That's Castleview Road. That's the double-ended cul-de-sac that you can see just to the north of this property. But there is a stub called Lindenwood Drive. There actually is some pavement on there. So there's two homes that have driveway access to Lindenwood Drive. So the owner of this property is in talks with developers. They eventually want to sell this and develop it with homes. So that would be their access coming through Altman Farms. But this subdivision here isn't granting anything like that. That's just simply separating these two lots at the zoning line. Any future developer would have to come back through the Planning Commission Board of Commissioners with a subdivision plan showing the lots. So as I mentioned, this is 37 plus acres for the residential part, and then the factory will still sit on 10 plus acres. The only condition that is required is sewage planning approval. They'll need a full planning module, so they'll have to go through the component 3 process through DEP, which takes a little bit longer. I'm actually still waiting for the application for that, but as far as everything else is concerned, their subdivision plan is okay, and the Planning Commission recommended it for approval. Any questions? That's all I have tonight.
All right, thank you. Any further board comments tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to make a quick comment. I'd just like to say, a couple days ago, I opened my tax bill, and I got pretty upset about it. Not about the amount of the taxes, but there's a typed comment on the tax form that says the tax office, due to the COVID pandemic, the tax office is closed. Now, in March, we're in March of 2022. I don't know of any business that is not open. There's no mask mandates anywhere. You don't even have to have the vaccine to get in places anymore. I think that's ridiculous that this tax office in our the townhouse here is not open. I know the township has nothing to do with it, and the Board of Commissioners has nothing to do with it. But I'm calling out to our tax collector to get in here and get this office open. And if she doesn't want to open it, get somebody in there to open it. It's ridiculous in today's world that we can't walk into our tax office and talk to somebody. And I know our employees, Juliana and Kim, are dealing with angry people daily that come in here and see a closed window back there. So if the word can get out, I would call on her, our tax collector, to get in here and open it up, because she's doing a disservice to the township residents.
Any other further board comments today?
I have one, just a question for Mike Turley. It actually has to do with that Hamilton rezoning. Does the Route 30 project affect that property? Isn't there going to be a jug handle at Colonial Manor Road that could affect that?
Yes. The jug handle, they've given us diagrams of the jug handle, not plans. I don't know why it's so secret and so many years are going on. There's, things have changed and they really don't want to share details with us, I think because of litigation or other issues. But they give us some diagrams and we have those. Because of the existing businesses at Colonial Manor Road, it was easier for them to try to relocate Colonial Manor Road to bring it at more like a 90-degree angle and then it's actually like it's an at grade interchange almost. In other words, it's an intersection, but it has a lot of features to it for truck turns and so forth. So it's fairly impactful. It's not grade separated in terms of having a bridge structure like an interchange, but it has a lot of loops and it's a little bit impactful. So we looked at that a couple years ago and we understood why they did that. Now that's not in the first section that they're in final design. They've been moving on the last few years, so they really haven't done much additional design work. They haven't communicated to us recently. I think because of the pandemic issues and costs, I heard indirectly that there were some dollar cost issues and it was delayed, and I think that's back on track, but I've not heard that directly. I heard from a very reputable source indirectly, not through Penna. So the issue in that section is, I think the short answer is, yeah, there's a diagram and it could impact that property. Be happy to look back at it, but we don't have any real right-of-way limits or anything that we can really tell exactly how impactful it would be, because that section's not really in detailed design either. But the short answer is yes, this could be an issue.
That's fine. I mean, that's answer enough. What I was curious was that would there be a benefit to the property owner to have it rezoned commercial, making it more valuable if it was going to be taken by eminent domain?
A lot of the Route 30 work was interesting from what I did. They accidentally sent us some plans that we saw the other side, saw some of the right-of-way limits, and no, so there's some grade changes because they're trying to flatten out the crest curves, and so there's a little bit different, so that you have to taper it off and make the driveways connect. So they're using easements to do this. They're not taking as much property as you would think as they redesign the main line. But where you have these access points, they're impactful, but we don't have anything that shows what would be the right-of-way limit, the additional land acquired.
Right.
We don't have that. We just have some diagrams about whether it doesn't tell us that much.
Okay, you answered my question.
Okay. Well, this is
actually Bruce did.
Okay.
I mean, it was just a thought in passing.
This whole thing has been concerning to us, but I think there's a lot of reasons for the delay, and they're focusing on the western section first.
Right.
And there's a lot of questions, and we just don't have all the answers. We have some diagrams, but
Right.
the point you're driving at is yes, this could be an issue. Yes.
Well, a good businessman might think of that. That's all. So.
Any other board comments tonight?
I want to bring up something. Earth Day is on Friday, April 22nd, and I am planning a cleanup event along Route 30 starting in the 7th Ward all the way down to the 1st Ward to help clean up Route 30 since it's looking pretty bad. It'll be the perfect timing around Earth Day weekend, and I'm looking for volunteers to help us. I'd like to put some teams together for that weekend. And we will be provided with the supplies and fluorescent vests for safety and partnering with getting the trash that is bagged picked up. So if anybody's interested, please reach out to me through email or to call me. Thanks.
Thank you. Anything else from the board tonight? No, I just need a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned at 7:24. Board of Commissioners held an executive session prior to the meeting to talk about personnel matters.